Welcome to Akhand Yoga, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. DIVYA, DRISHTI, divine vision, the clairvoyant human eyes. DIVYA is walking, talking encyclopedia of impeccable. My mission, the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is known. My greatest discovery is DIVYA, the divine design of nature, with which the perfect objects are designed and created. This is the reward of 60 years of integrated education. Divya Drishti, clairvoyance. Divya means divine, Drishti means vision. The divine vision is known as clairvoyance. The human can see or visualize the divine vision. We can increase the field of vision, which is restricted to 90 degrees to 108 degrees on either side. We can also visualize the object lying behind our ears with the help of integrating or activating skin cells. We can train skin cells to visualize our aura in front or back also at the same time. The reason is skin, nervous system, eyes are formed from the same ectoderm layer of the trigeminal layer. They have a common origin. So as a result, the pathway, everything is same. The receptors in skin are as good as receptors in eyes or the nervous system. Let's talk of the divine design of the perfect human eye. Human eye, normal adult human eye is 5 millimeter by 24 millimeters, which is nothing but 22 into 21 ratio, which is Brahmank issue. Now, I'm sure there are 22 bones of the head and brain which encloses the brain, thinking brain, and also the eyes and other big sensory special instruments within that is also designed by 22 by 21. 21 bones are fixed and one is labile, that is mandible, which helps us express ourselves effectively. So divine design is very clear. 22 by 21 is with respect to the brain, head and eyes. There are also 7 layers, important layers of the vision. Cornea, aqueous humor, pupil, lens, vitreous humor, retina and optic nerve, which carry visual signal to the brain. At this juncture, let me also tell you there are 6 supporting eye muscles which help rotate the eyes. Medial rectus muscle helps to bring the eyes close to the center for accommodation, or Taratakam, which we are going to show later. And lateral recti muscles are the ones which are responsible for deviating to the lateral as much as possible. We can divert the eyes and thereby see the back and much better. Like animals have eyes placed laterally, whereas we have eyes placed front. So most of us are able to see only front, not back. Animals can see either side, but we can also improve, add that value to ourselves by exercising medial muscles as well as lateral muscles. The other muscles also would help in curving or reversing aging process of presbyopia. That means after 35 years, we invariably read reading glasses to see close objects. With the help of exercise of this called Taratakam, we can avoid that. And muscles I have shown, but then also when light falls during daytime, when the bright light, pupil is invariably constricted. As a result, light falls only in the center part, which carries cones, which are receptive to bright light, and they are centrally. Whereas when in darkness, pupil is dilated and light falls on the entire back of the eye, and most of the rods are placed peripherally, and they are more in quantity. It shows how beautiful is the design of the human eyes. And if we understand the eyes and take care of it, we can have perfect divine vision from childhood to as old as 100 plus. And we are designed to have long, healthy life. And this is an objective which can be achieved with the help of Akhand Yoga. Now let's divine design of the human vision. There are 10 layers of human retina and visual pathway. Is it a coincidence that we have even here 10 layers, 10 designs? Because DIVYA says there are mandatory 10 stages of development everywhere. So as a result, everything which is vital is designed with 10 stages. And this is one of the examples which I always given how nature has beautifully done. And those 10 layers are inner limiting layer or membrane in which the light from outside first falls in the eyes after vitreous tumors. Then layer of optic nerve which takes the signals out. Then you have layer of ganglion cells, inner plexiform layer of amacrine cells, inner nuclear layer of bipolar cells, outer plexiform layer of horizontal layer, then outer nuclear layer of photoreceptors, then outer limiting membrane, rods and cones, and then retinal pigment layer which converts light signals into electrical signals which are perceived by rods and cones and then carried through this pathway to the brain for perception. So I'm sure this 10th stage makes a lot of sense. Then visual pathway also external object which emits light. It falls on the cornea and cornea is the first bending to focus into the center so that we can see light very, very clearly, or objects very clearly. Then you have a lens which is again second focus to bring it down to more clarity so that they can fall right onto the retina for perfect perception. And this is what aging process has the effect on the lens. Vitreous humor is again a medium, then retina, optic nerve, optic chiasma, optic tract, optic radiation, and visual cortex. Now these things, let me take you to the next stage to show in the particular visual image. Now, right in the middle you can see, as I told you in the beginning, for Taratakam, you can focus right in the middle. And for that, medial rectus muscles help you to bring, with the help of oculomotor nerve, which is located in midbrain, to bring the focus into the center. See, this is one important exercise of Taratakam, which is primarily associated with accommodation reflex. But before going to accommodation reflex, let's talk of the pupillary reflex, which is another important aspect of the eye functions. We got to understand that. Suppose we put bright light onto one eye and make sure it does not fall on the other eye. The light travels from light source, light medium to the eyes, lens, retina, optic nerve, chiasma, optic tract, and pretectus nucleus. I told you this is 9 pathway. Then it crosses out to the opposite side. And opposite side you have Edinger-Westphal nucleus, which is oculomotor nerve, cranial parasympathetic nerve, first cranial parasympathetic nerve, which centers on how to constrict this particular pupil in when light has fallen, and also the opposite side, and how signal passes to pupil constriction has been given very clearly here. So I'm sure at leisure you can go through the whole design. I'm sure you'll have absolutely no problem at all. Accommodation reflex, as I told you, light pupillary also has the same thing, but when you bring eyes to right in the middle, same pathway goes and then go to oculomotor nerve, then also to nerve to the medial rectus muscles, which are controlled by another nucleus called oculomotor nucleus, which is not involuntary. It is voluntary. You can bring close by volunteer muscular skeletal muscles, not involuntary. Involuntary muscles are iris, which are made of smooth muscles, whereas this muscle is a skeletal muscles. Voluntary, that is involuntary. Now, how beautiful is the design of brain, eyes, is something we should learn to appreciate. And you can see in this particular picture, the length and breadth of the brain which I've shown is the actual size, which is with rectangle or Devic ratio only. from now pupillary accommodation to Taratakam, to how we can use this particular exercise to exercise our medial rectus muscles and lateral exercise muscle. Thereby we can improve the spectrum or field of vision itself, so that we can have a divine vision to see things clearly without being disturbed, without bringing mind into concentration, which is primarily associated with sympathetic system. So if the focus is only on parasympathetic, cranial parasympathetic in this, we would have a much better control over mind itself. To calm the mind is what yoga is all about. Let me now bring the element of Akhand Yoga, 10 stages of Akhand Yoga, which 30 I've given, but I'm not going to talk of the entire thing, which you can read leisurely. I've done it before. It is a repetition, but 4 points I would like to highlight. The 14th point in this is pratyahara, the withdrawal of the mind from the external world. As I told you, all the senses are projected front, but as the Shastra say, Akhand Yoga say, Akhand Sutra says, Indriya are senses and they are controlled by the mind or manas, and then intelligence, and then they are finally controlled by Atma or pure soul consciousness. So, as the first stage of Akhand Yoga, we should have the eyes open, but they are not fluctuating. That means mind is not there. Eyes are open, but mind has been withdrawn from the senses. That is the first thing. Then create a shield around the mind or mental energy to focus on one object which we want to see. That internalized, uninterrupted pinpoint concentration of the mind is called dhyana, then samadhi. When you come to the even state of the mind is not at all disturbed, and consciousness is here, and soul is only one using the entire system to see the process the way you want, and that is Akhand Yoga. This samyam, integration of dharana, dhyana, samadhi is absolutely essential to make optimum use of soul consciousness, and that is the reason why I'm talking about this is dharana, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi should be understood so that we can go to the stage of Kundalini Yoga or Chakral Yoga thereafter at the 9th stage of Akhand Yoga, and then go to Antar Yoga. Now let's see how things can manifest thereafter. As I told you in the beginning itself, way back in 1992-93 itself, I had an experience of Ara or Pranmay Kosh and Zero or Shunya during one of the 4 months yoga, basic yoga access program I attended. 1 month of yogasana, 1 month of pranayam, breathing exercises, 1 month of Taratakam, and 1 month of meditation. At the end of the 4 months, when we were completely aware of the yogic contemplation, or Patanjali Yoga Sutra, or Kriya Yoga, or whatever you can call it, we had a conducted meditation where we were asked to sit down in Padmasana, as you can see in the picture, and concentrate only on Muladhara Chakra, which is in the pelvis. See a bright light there. Then we are asked to bring the bright light little up to Swadhisthana Chakra, which is with the sacral parasympathetic, then Nabhi, which is umbilicus, then heart, Anhata, then throat. When in moment consciousness was brought to throat, I had a jerk, and then I suddenly found myself in a white back of light. Instantly at that given moment of time, I was sitting, we were asked to keep the eyes closed. Since I had closed the eyes, I was not seeing by my normal eyes, but I could see the white light. And that was my first experience that we can see the aura and we can see it through the skin. And skin have, as I told you in the beginning, same origin as eyes and nervous system, ectoderm. I think it makes the sense, scientific sense, that it is absolutely possible. Now what's the next? Antar Yoga experience also I had way back in 1995. When complete senses from outside, the mind interact, everything was brought to my soul consciousness, and I was focused only on soul, my Kundalini, my Antaratma. With the help of that, I could break Brahma Granthi, which is the knot between Muladhara Chakra and Brahma Nadi, which is the central canal of the spinal cord. And I could experience that internalization of Kundalini or Antaratma within the Brahma Nadi, a central canal, and it was associated with brilliant light, thunder, music and whatnot. It was a fantastic experience. But it's as it moved and settled down in the ventricles of the brain. In the third ventricles of the brain was a fine region, not the lateral ventricle, not the fourth ventricle, third, which is in front of pineal gland, as you can see in this particular picture. After that, I had an experience of Satchidanand, you can call it a blissful state. And as if everything was as calm and quiet as thing, and that was the beginning of my real journey of Akhand Yoga. And from there, I was focused from inside. Now I'm relating to the external world from that level. As a result, my senses have no problem, my mind has no problem, intellect has no problem, intuition has no problem. I can be the part and parcel of universal consciousness, but still untouched by the world. And that is what Akhand Yoga is all about. If you can be in tune with nature, be in tune with the world, then only that you can bring impeccable wisdom for the benefit of the entire universe. And I think this is what Antar Yoga has done change. Where Patanjali talks about only Ashtanga Yoga, but I talk about Dasang Yoga, are 10 stages of that. Kundalini Chakras Yoga and Antar Yoga are 2 additional things which I have added, but fortunately this information is also cryptically explained in Satchakra Nirupana itself, which people have not been able to translate. Anyway, I have done that, I am happy with it. Now, proof of that is that as I told you, Divyank Dhvani music, with the help of that, I could bring alpha frequency in temporal region. As far as occipital region is concerned, it was always there because the vision is very strong and signals could go up to second and third layer of neocortex. Now with the Dhvani, it can go right up to second and third. Thereby you can produce alpha frequency from temporal with eyes open and eyes closed beautifully. Now because of the contemplation, all the 64 arts and sciences which I am talking about, almost all the senses of different nature and the motor as well as this, I am able to integrate into one and activate the entire neocortex or outside, first, second and third, and use the receptors for that and integrate and create a new pathways, totally integrated, which I call Akhand Yoga. And this is one of the proof that with closed eyes, I am able to produce 8.5 hertz throughout the brain, beautiful amplitude alpha frequency. You can very clear there. After opening the eyes, I am able to produce alpha frequency 8 hertz, which is even lesser than 8.5. As I told you in the beginning, 1993, before I started research work, my EEG showed 10.5 hertz frequency from occipital region when mind was at rest, eyes were closed. After opening the eyes, it was replaced by beta. From that 10.5 hertz alpha frequency from occipital region, not rest of the brain, that too with mind at rest and eyes closed, to the stage of 8 hertz frequency with open eyes throughout the brain, is something which should be considered. This is the transformation which Akhand Yoga can bring. This is what spirituality is. And that is what I'm talking about. Now, with the help of Divyank, is a result of that. Now we can understand how we can change. Now that we have a data, information, knowledge about yoga with the evidence we have, which I have been able to produce, now we can build on it to multiple research. It has been a single case study for the last 30 years. I agree. Now that I have made it to the public domain, given all the explanation, all the theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge and analytic approach, evaluation, scientific evaluation, I'm sure other people can replicate and add value to the whole neuroscience research thereafter. Now with that, I think let me come to the stage. I think we are on the right track. Now we know how to build on it to make everybody understand that with the help of Divyank, we can have a perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology, and learn to be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and become a perfect human being, have the perfect knowledge from school, college to the universities, which we don't have to unlearn and relearn. I think it's a new beginning of impeccable wisdom, which Akhand Yoga Ashram is able to start, and I'm sure over a period other applications beside what I am talking about could also be added so that information for school, college, and university is uniform throughout the world and nobody need to unlearn and relearn, which is a challenging job. I think with that, let me come to the end of this particular video and say thank you very much for kind listening and encouraging me. Thank you once.